Salut à tous et à toutes, j'espère que vous allez bien. En tout cas, moi ça va nickel. On se trouve aujourd'hui sur Avowed et on reprend là où on s'était arrêté la dernière fois.
It just happened, right? I didn't imagine it. Ringrim liked me? And my spellcraft! And she gave me her grimoire! Look, isn't it the most beautiful thing you've ever seen?
Nous formons une belle équipe. Peu nombreux sont ceux qui peuvent se vanter d'avoir survécu à un face-à-face avec un archimage.
You were incredible! Thank you for trusting me.
You, my dear, have a promising career ahead of you.
Oh, Quilici would have been so proud if he were here. I cannot wait to tell him. With Ringrim's grimoire, I think we can go to the ruins and find the garden.
For once, we've outpaced Ludwig. A rare advantage. I say we use it.
Then there's no time to waste. I must prepare for Naku Kubel. As must you.
Let's hope the ruins are warm. I didn't think to bring a coat.
Du coup, ça nous a TP là. Ah mais... Attends, on vient juste à l'entrée. Est-ce qu'on peut se TP à partir de là? Parler à Kai. Je te parlais à Kai. Il me faut un truc là. Impossible pour l'instant. Ah, faut que je sorte d'ici. C'est ce que je me disais. Allez, on est sorti. Comme ça, après on se TP de l'autre côté. Après, ils me disent de parler à Kai aussi, mais c'est bizarre, il n'y a pas sur la carte. Comme quoi il faut parler à Kai. Les compagnons. Ah mais capacité compagnon. L'explosion s'affiche une accumulation de feu aux ennemis touchés. Voilà. Bon. Maintenant, on peut se taper là-bas. Voilà. Au moins, on sera juste à côté de trucs là. Naku Kubel ou je sais pas quoi.
The magical ability required to make such a barrier. It's remarkable.
Voilà. Parler à Kai. J'aimerais bien. Ah, faut peut-être que je le prenne dans mon équipe alors. Bon, on va faire ça. Bon, voilà, on se retrouve là pour parler avec Kai.
When you were out in the shark's teeth, you didn't happen to find a badge belonging to Tama, did you?
C'est ce que vous cherchez, n'est-ce pas?
It sure is. Reminds me of old times. Long marches under the desert sun. Scouting runs through sandstorms so thick we had to tie our tunics over our mouths.
Ça avait l'air d'être un quotidien plein d'aventures.
was sunburn on your top half and chafing on your bottom half. But, yeah, those were good days. And Tama, he'd wake us up before dawn with the most off-key singing you've ever heard and a pot of burnt merc brew.
Vous adoriez ça, oui.
Only once I realized he was burning it so we couldn't taste how stale it was. He kept us marching until we had sand in every orifice you can think of, and a few you didn't know you had. Just when it felt like we were going to collapse, he'd call it and we'd make camp. And somehow, we'd all find the energy for a few rounds of cards or songs or stories.
À vous entendre le décrire, il ressemblait à certains des meilleurs commandants sous lesquels j'ai servi.
He was the best I ever knew.
Mais
Coming back here was a mistake. I don't know what we're doing here.
vous êtes venu ici pour une raison, Kai.
Because I'm a glutton for punishment? Here's the truth. I led a patrol. We were ambushed. Tama came to our rescue. And he suffered a fatal wound in the process.
Et ensuite,
We did our best to keep him in one piece while we hauled him back. He was the color of an eel's belly. The stubborn bastard made it all the way back to Thirdborn. We got him a sickbed, but we knew he didn't have long.
il vous a sauvé. Cela ne veut pas dire que vous l'avez laissé tomber.
I wish I could believe that. You ever had to watch someone fade away? When it's slow and agonizing? No glory, no din of battle, no distractions.
Oui,
Then you know. It's like sitting still while someone drags rusty nails over your skin. Sitting there, I noticed that he was missing his badge. And all the time I'd known him, I'd never seen him take it off.
c'était sa marque de service. Nous avions quelque chose de similaire dans l'herbe haute.
Then you get it. To an old trencher like him, that badge meant belonging, honor. I'm sorry, Envoy. I haven't talked about this in a while.
Je comprends. Prenez votre temps.
Thanks. Just having his badge in hand means more than you know. There's just one last thing I've got to do.
De quoi s'agit-il?
There's a memorial site with some cairns on the cliffs east of Thirdborn. One of those cairns is Tama's. It's time I said goodbye.
Nous lui rendrons les honneurs d'un soldat tombé au combat et d'un héros.
It's the least he deserves. Especially after... Never mind. Let's get some rest.
Je vais en profiter pour parler un peu avec tout le monde.
To the camp of an official Adiran envoy, I was expecting a little more. A proper bed, at least. But I suppose this will do for now. As long as you have a bath, of course.
Un bain doit être possible si c'est demandé gentiment.
I always ask nicely. But as riveting as it is to complain about our accommodations, I imagine you have another topic in mind?
Ce pot que vous m'avez demandé d'aller chercher, il vaut cher?
I'm the only buyer you'll find here, and I already have the jar. A lesson for next time, darling. It's always worth some haggling. Unfortunately, it's been quite some time since I've met another who focused on the godless as I do. And I imagine I'd be more knowledgeable on the subject than anyone else you could find.
Avez-vous appris l'existence des impies lorsque vous étudiez les arts arcaniques?
Technically, yes. Well, it set me on the path, at least. When I got my first grimoire as a child, I was trying out some of the fancy new spells I'd been given. I was attempting a simple illusion spell, but I must have slurred my words. The next thing I know, everything was on fire.
Quand vous dites tout,
I mean, my arm wasn't the only casualty. What is childhood but for silly things? When else can you get away with arson? My father was able to pull me from the flames as my mother doused them. burned myself badly enough to give myself some vivid dreams, but the house still stood at the end.
Quel genre de rêve?
Just the usual things. Not studying for an exam, having all your teeth fall out. They're not nearly as enjoyable as my more provocative dreams.
Personnellement, mon rêve préféré implique plusieurs cordes et une poignée d'irrésistibles courtisans et courtisanes d'Aïdir.
Oh. Well, just be sure to have a quick release knot if you ever make that fantasy reality. Someone should learn from my mistakes. I certainly have no intention to.
Goodness, we're feeling very honest today, aren't we?
As delightful as you are, we've much to do and less time to do it in. Shall we go?
Bon, faut que je parle avec elle aussi.
The dream scourge is getting worse. First our land, then our animals. Now our people. If we don't put a stop to it, we're looking at the end of the living lands.
Même si nous guérissons les terres vivantes, nous devrons encore les arracher au garrot d'acier.
How can anyone expect us to do both? As if the dream scourge wasn't enough of a problem, the Adirans are profiting off our misfortune. They haven't come to help us. They're here to exploit our weakness.
C'est cruel mais efficace. Je n'entends pas moins de Lodwin.
Try not to admire her too much. She is, after all, a monster. It's too bad. We're fighting for our lives, our souls, and our freedom. I don't know if we can win all three.
C'est possible, ce ne sera pas facile, mais nous y arrivons.
You really think so? My apologies for acting cynical, but it feels as if nature, politics, and even the very gods are working against us. I don't appreciate being backed into a corner, but here I am.
Ça doit être agréable de savoir que Yadzli n'est pas loin.
Despite everything that's happened, I'm so grateful to be working with Yatsli. In many ways, Quilici has been like a second father to me. But Yatsli, she's like my dirty aunt who's up to no good.
Si elle sait se battre, elle peut nous accompagner.
Not only can she fight, she can hold her liquor. Couldn't even tell you where it goes. While I have your attention, I've been thinking. Why is Inquisitor Ludwig suddenly interested in godless ruins?
Peut-être qu'elle en sait plus qu'elle ne le laisse paraître.
She's a smart one, I'll give her that. We should be ready for anything. Something tells me Ludwig isn't finished with us yet.
À quoi pensez-vous?
I don't leave Emerald Stair often enough. With everything going on, there's been no time to explore. My city had to burn down before I could take a vacation. Sorry. I'm in a mood, if you couldn't tell.
Vous voulez en parler?
Only if you can stand the ramblings of a depressed bookworm. I used to think I had it all figured out. The living lands proved me wrong in so many ways. This entire island is the prison of a mad god. How is one animancer supposed to compete with that?
En libérant sa padale et en rétablissant l'équilibre dans les terres vivantes.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. Maybe I'm being melodramatic, or maybe I'm not used to seeing things clearly. But what if animancy has no future in the living lands? What if my entire career was a mistake?
Ayez un peu confiance en vous. Vous avez choisi cette voie pour une raison.
Did I? After what happened to my parents, I always thought the path chose me. You're a good listener as always, but I've taken enough of your time. I'll be fine, really. I'm not the first animancer to question her life choices, and I won't be the last.
Ça ira pour l'instant, reposez-vous.
Until next time.
Je dois encore lui parler, c'est chiant.
I've been meaning to tell you something. Sending my people to Thirdborn. It's a good arrangement. They get a roof over their heads. The city gets animancers, and everyone gets along. For once.
Parfois, il faut une tragédie pour rassembler les gens.
We should try to harness that goodwill, or replicate it like an energy source. On the other hand, maybe not. Look, I know you didn't come to this island to help us. And yet you were here when others would have looked away. Despite everything that happened, it means a lot.
Votre peuple mérite mieux. J'espère qu'il pourra souffler un peu.
We all deserve better. But fate decided otherwise. Well, onward to better things. If you need anything, you know where to find me.
Normalement c'est bon, je peux dire pas.
You
Oh,
too.
c'est bon.
Did you leave anyone back home?
I left everyone.
Bon voilà, on se retrouve au mémorial. Qui se trouve là.
Thomas Memorial. Never thought anything could contain that man, you know? That booming laugh, that bottomless appetite, boundless energy. Now he's under a pile of rocks.
Honoré par ceux qui l'a servi, comme tous les soldats tombés au combat devraient l'être.
You're just making this more real. This is where you're supposed to distract me, lighten the mood with a wisecrack or something.
Après tout ce qui s'est passé, vous essayez encore d'éviter d'affronter la vérité? Non, je vais plutôt dire ça. Kai, j'ai enterré suffisamment de camarades pour savoir que rien de ce que vous pourrez dire ne diminuera votre douleur.
Well, you didn't have to give me the truth. There's something I didn't tell you about Thomas' death.
Ah,
Remember how I noticed he'd lost his badge? I went out. I told him I was going to go find it. He told me to stay. I said I'd be right back.
j'aurais fait la même chose pour n'importe lequel de mes frères ou sœurs de l'herbe haute.
No. You'd have come back. I walked away, envoy. And I kept walking.
Attendez, vous n'êtes jamais retourné à Terre-Tire?
Not since returning with you. Couldn't imagine anyone would be too happy to see me after everything. Now you know why I never went back to his house in Emerald Stair. Why I never came back to Thirdborn.
Je ne peux pas vous donner l'absolution, c'est ce que vous recherchez.
I wouldn't know what to do with something that fancy sounding, even if you did. I just figured I owed you some honesty. The truth is, traveling with you and Marius, getting to know Giada and Yardsley, it's felt easy. Too easy.
Ça vous rappelle le bon vieux temps, avec Dama.
Yeah, and that worries me. I'm not a joiner. I'm good for a skirmish, some war stories, a few drinks, but I'm not someone you keep around.
De quoi parlez-vous?
Come on, you know my story now. I let people down. I let them down when they're counting on me most.
Vous étiez blessé, effrayé. La compassion, ce n'est pas que pour les autres. Gardez-en un peu pour vous aussi.
Self-compassion. That's a balm for outbursts and hangovers. I know what I am. I'm finally facing it.
Vous êtes venu ici, jusqu'ici pour honorer Tama. S'il était encore ici, est-ce que il vous dirait la même chose?
But he's not here, and that is because of me. I'm finally owning that.
Vous avez fait de la mémoire de Tama un fardeau. Ce n'est pas une façon de l'aimer ou d'honorer son sacrifice.
What? No, I didn't.
vous m'avez vous-même avoué de ne parler que rarement de lui.
He died pulling my ass out of the fire, and I still let him face it alone. How can I remember him without remembering that?
Vous avez merdé. Acceptez-le et passez à autre chose, afin que vous puissiez vous souvenir de lui comme il le mérite.
I fucked up. I did. I let him down, and he deserved better. It doesn't change anything, but it feels right to say it, like I'm putting down a weight after carrying it too long. I never realized I'd let my failure change the way I remembered him.
Alors corrigez cela.
One of the things I loved about Tama was how he gave us all a fresh start. No matter where we'd come from or what we'd done, I drifted to Paradise, but never thought about where I'd go from this.
À quoi pensez-vous à présent?
Tom always talked about the places he hoped to see. The islands of Deadfire, the tundras of Nasitok, the ancient cities of Old Valia. Maybe I ought to see some of those places for us both. As a traveler, not a soldier. Once we've stopped the Dream Scourge and dealt with the Steel Garrote.
C'est un bon plan. J'aime pouvoir reprendre le goût à la vie.
I've got some things to sort out, but it feels good to have something to look forward to.
Voilà. Le mec était en totale déprime. Après c'est vrai que ça c'est complètement con. Le était sur le point de mourir, il s'est barré. Ça aurait rien changé. Et s'il aurait été le chercher, il serait revenu, il serait mort. Il serait resté avec lui, au moins il aurait pu avoir ses dernières paroles. Pouvoir parler une dernière fois avec. Mais bon. C'est pas grave, chose qui arrive. On va pas être parfait partout. On continue par là. En tout cas, j'avais oublié à quel point Kai pouvait faire le taf. Hein. Bon, allez hop. Oh, que des trucs que je vais dégager. Parade. Voilà, aucune chance de survie.
Everyone okay? Yeah.
Voilà. On s'est fait dégommer. Il n'y avait aucune chance de survie. Bon. Ça on est bon, on continue. On va dégager toutes les merdes que j'ai.
You take lead.
Party on the broad! Swarm! Devour!
Behind!
See!
Watch your back! You alright, you?
He sucks so.
Voilà.
On the left!
Didn't stand a chance.
Bon, on peut continuer.
Stinging one.
Easy when you
Air in the eye!
Oh non.
Space.
Ok.
I've never seen so many dream claws in one place. What's drawing them here?
Who disturbs us? Party in the brush! Return to light!
Oh non. Ouais, rien.
There's nothing there.
Oh non. Voilà, sacré bordel. Encore une fois. Voilà.
I've dreamt of exploring Nagukubel for years, to find out what happened to the godless who built this and why they vanished.
Plus vite nous en finirons, mieux ce sera.
Oh, but there's so much left to see. Fine. I suppose we are in a rush.
There must have been a battle here long ago. See those metal corpses? We saw them around Nakutadek, too.
These are magfolk. They're often found in many godless ruins, but they are definitely not godless.
On dirait des guerriers. Ces lames sont en forme d'épée.
That's no surprise. The magfolk are responsible for taking many lives. Godless ruins are filled with magfolk remains, but no records of them exist in Akhidan lore. I don't think the godless did well against the magfolk.
Still, I wonder why they fell. Were they overwhelmed, or taken by surprise, or something else?
8 years. Blood like a fountain. No quarter. Nothing spared.
Wait, did the voice in your head just talk? What did it say?
Ça ne plaît pas à sa patale.
I'm not surprised. Something terrible happened here. Anything of historic importance is often blood-soaked. Are you ready? We're entering one of their holiest places. Who knows what we'll find? Okay. Got my wand, got my grimoire. Let's go already.
Pendant qu'elle va là.
Athik, Worthan, Roth.
Yachtsley's in her element already.
We remember. They loved and we loved in return.
Next one's mine.
We're nearly free now.
Bah y'a rien en fait. On va s'écrire quelque chose, mais... Bon, pas grave. Allez, on avance. Naku... À chaque fois j'oublie le nom. Naku Coupel, je sais plus ce que c'est. Voilà,
We
Naku Coupel.
remember. They loved and we loved in return.
Spear in the eye! Purge the light!
Voilà.
The weapon's not doing the job.
Voilà. S'il y a rien.
Oh, look at that Audra. What else might be here?
Des escaliers mitouillés.
The heart of the Akita beats. Our veins stir. You are close. Seek the ancient kith who dwell here. They will show you the way.
Elles sont emprisonnées dedans. Allez, ici.
An intruder comes. You don't belong here. Why have you come? What business do you have in this place? Tell me, before I strike you down.
J'essaie de trouver un moyen d'accéder au jardin.
And the gardener. Of course, they'd seek more souls to help them.
The gardener. That must be how the ancient Akidans referred to their god, to Sopadal.
I am Numena, Disparu Sanakis, and guardian of the Akita and the living lands. They came swarming, relentless, these juggernauts. So many they stole the heat from the stars. They brought death to our temples. They brought doom to our kin. and the sky held no sun as our children screamed.
Oh, I know this. You speak of the Magfolk.
Yes, Story Seeker. Their corpses remain, as do our memories of what they did to us.
Si quelqu'un s'est servi des Malflocs comme une arme, son intention a toujours été de les voir mourir au combat.
Yes, they had no fear. They only wanted us to die and die and die. They wanted us forgotten. Our words were burned. Our buildings were broken. Anything that was of Akida, they destroyed.
That's why there are no records, no histories.
We fought so hard, but we fell too. Then they trapped our gardener.
Trapped. A sepulchre of endless night. Bones beneath roots. Stop this.
Cela ne vous ressemble pas. Qu'est-ce qui vous a mis dans cet état?
Scar. A scar. The light. It blinded us. Why were we so afraid?
The gardener quickens. This hastens our fears.
Je sais que Sapadal craignait les Malflocs, lui aussi.
The gardener was afraid, yes. They were terrified. That was all they saw. Death hungers and cannot be sated. That which killed the Akida wants more slaughter still. So our gardener calls then, begging one more time to be set free.
Wait. They know. They understand. Why do they hinder you?
When the gardener calls, there is no turning away. But you will prove yourself to us through a series of trials. Survive these trials, and you will know the way to the garden. First is a trial of strength. Demonstrate your might against our ancient dead, and earn the right to face the second.
Formidable, une autre épreuve.
May yours be kinder than ours. The path to the garden lays before you. It is the only way. Go now. Your trials begin.
Ok.
We just spoke to an ancient Akedan. Well, if you insist.
Oh non.
I think I got bone dust in my fur.
Another glorious battle.
En tout cas, ça crée épreuve. On en a eu à massacrer. Moi, je vais être plus malin. Comme ça, je me retrouve pas dans la mouise.
That ghost called you a Disparu Sanakis. That must be what the Akita called their godlines.
Coming from your right.
Enfin. Quel bordel encore. Oh non.
Nice of them to give us a little break, isn't it?
I get the feeling they're not done with us.
Oh là là. Voilà. Putain. Voilà. C'était pas évident, mais on a réussi.
For the first trial. On to the second.
Bon, on va arrêter la vidéo là pour aujourd'hui. En tout cas, j'espère qu'elle vous a plu. Si c'est le cas, n'hésitez pas à liker et à vous abonner si ce n'est pas déjà fait. Portez-vous bien, à la prochaine. Ciao.